Welcome back, everyone. This is Youngzers, season 2, I think, episode 9, maybe 8. 8. Yeah, we got 8. Sorry, it's getting to the point where I can't track that thing anymore, so I gotta rely on Dan to do that.
I got you.
Got a bit of a full slate. We haven't been able to talk about a Steeler game after the Steeler game in a while because they're playing late night games, so we won't want to hop on and record at like 1 a.m. But we'll recap the Browns game last week where we saw a Steelers W. We'll talk a little, probably preview on the game today against the Raiders. I think it's just that we mix in a little Buccos after their performance last night. I think they earned at least a couple minutes there.
No,
But yeah, they did. They did. Biggest comeback in franchise history against a team in Ohio.
they're scrappy team. I'll give them that.
So you just want to go with the Buckeyes right now?
Yeah, let's just get it out of the
All
way.
right.
Thoughts?
I'm going to jump in here real quick. The date is September 24th, 2023, and was it yesterday? They were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
I don't think so.
I saw tweets about it, and then I know Jordan Cominos was telling me that they're not technically out yet, but every team in front of them has to lose the last 6 games, and they'd have to win out. I mean, is it impossible? No, but it's impossible. So I will take that off the rip. Hot start. Dog days of summer hit them, and it hit us too. I know we were just talking about them, and they got us through the summer. A lot of improvement. If you look back this time last year, they were 30 some games below 500. They're 8 below 500 now. So they got some pieces, and then you got to look forward to next year. O'Neal Cruz coming back. The pitching staff, get Skeens up here as fast as possible. I think you invite him to spring training, and if he shows out, I think you got to give him a roster spot, but they're not going to. We know how the Buccos work and how they like to keep guys around and keep the control on them. And also, teams that led by 9 runs or more leading into yesterday were 205-0 for the season. And then the Buccos did it this first time in franchise history that they came back from 9 runs down. So scrappy team. It's good to see. But I want to see the production that Brian Hayes and Brian Reynolds are having now throughout the year. I think they were very quiet. I know Brian was hurt, and I know Brian Reynolds was hurt as well. I get that, but that other than that, I guess it kept us entertained through the dog days of summer.
Yeah. I credit where credit's due. They're a scrappy team. They got some pieces there that can build off of. This off season, I'm not believing in anything next year until they either go out and make a big trade and bring somebody in, or actually, spend some of that hillbilly Prince money during the off season. Other than that, if they don't do that, it's irrelevant next year too. That's my contribution. They're scrappy. Let's do.
Where do you see the biggest needs as? I see first base and then center field.
Yeah.
Those are the
First
two
base,
spots.
center, possibly DH, but you got to get guys in the rotation. You got to at least get 2 arms.
Yeah, you got a couple arms. I think the bullpen's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a year for an off season of experience. I thought that rookie battle last night, Mladzinski versus Ellie De La Cruz, that felt like a playoff at bat right there. Like both players, like I guess we could say De La Cruz is an up and comer. I do feel like his hype was a little bit blown out of proportion, and now it kind of shows a little bit. But that was just a really good battle. I'm hoping that game set back Cincy franchise because I saw as soon as they lost that game, their playoff chances went from like I think it was like 30 or 40, like somewhere around there, to like 6%.
Yeah.
So that's awesome that the Pirates got like the chance to do that, especially in the way they did it, where people were tweeting like left and right, like this game's over, like this stinks, and then like Cincy people, especially the Reds Twitter account, saying like, "Hey, like a lot happened. We're not gonna go into all of it, but we're up 9-0." And all of a sudden, like it's tied, and then the Pirates took the lead. So just being able for them to do that, that's pretty.
Really, that's really the sweetest team you could do that to, aside from maybe the Cardinals,
Mm-hmm.
because I've went through this before. Skyline chili sucks. I don't know. The Bengals are 0-2. Joe Burrow signed a ton of money, and he's like Charlie and what's his name
The
in
Chocolate Factory.
no, Always Sunny. Frank and Charlie. Remember, like who pooped the bed?
Yeah.
That's basically what Joe Burrow's doing in the NFL equivalent. And the Reds are a joke. And honestly, I can't really name anything good in Cincinnati. So great to see that happen to such a storied city. Really the jewel of the central U.S. there. I can't think of 20 or 30 other cities that would be ahead of it, but Cincinnati, you suck.
So
Elliot Cruz has fallen off. You wait for it. You wait for it.
I want to make a couple points here real quick. You mentioned Skyline Chili. Did you see what Oklahoma did yesterday when they beat Cincinnati? Their players were drinking Skyline Chili out of a can and then spitting it out. It was pretty classy.
Good.
I like
That's
that.
the only way it can be consumed.
Yeah.
Is by
it's disgusting.
So the Buccos are playing the role of spoiler pretty well because they did it to the Cubs as well. They took 2 or 3 from the Cubs and really wrecked their playoff chances. I do have a question though. I know, Andrew, you kind of check out when we talk Buccos, but we sit here right now and you look forward to next year. That's what we have to do. You look at the bullpen, or not the bullpen, the starting rotation. You got Johan Oviedo, you got Mitch Keller. Who else? What other starters do you have?
That's what I mean. You got to sign Quinn Priester. Didn't really impress when he came up this year. You have a couple guys. Paul Skeens should be in the rotation sooner than later.
He'll be in there, let's say June. But do you turn to Luis Ortiz? Do you give Rawanzi another chance? Like
maybe Rawanzi. I'd say Jared Jones looked good in AAA.
Okay.
When he got called up in AA. So that's definitely a name to watch for. But aside from that, you still have guys like Anthony Solomedo and Bubba Chandler who are still, maybe late next year, definitely the following year away in the rotation that have been good. This is the year where you got to get some veterans in the rotation to stabilize it because for the last few weeks they've been using openers and Colin Selby, who fought at Gettysburg, just looks like he's lost on a pitching mound. There's just a lot there that just doesn't look like they quite belong on a Major League Baseball team. So that's where you kind of get lost there. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's different going into this offseason than what we're typically used to. We could sit there like we usually do and hope and say, they're going to be good. We have the young guys. But the thing is, this offseason hinges more on our hope for next year with who they actually sign. Like, last year was those bridge guys, like your Santanas, your Kutches, guys like that. Rich Hill. But this coming season is when you sign those guys that plug those holes too. Like you need to go after like a Reese Hoskins or something like that at first base or a center field or just anything, couple arms. So we'll see even before the season how all in Charrington really is, and if he's just all talk.
I mean, it's not really Charrington, though. I mean, I'm sure if he was able to spend money, he could, but Bob Nutting treats nickels like they're manhole covers, so that's tough for any GM to be put in there. One name I'd look for as an upgrade at first base would probably be Jeremy Burnitz. Reggie Sanders is probably nearing on 50 and could probably play center field for them. And that's really the kind of players that they get in the offseason, these kind of reclamation projects.
Yeah, the big names.
Yeah, the last time I remember in the early 2000s, Derek Bell got traded to Pittsburgh, and he went into Operation Shutdown. I think it might have been him and a young John Jaso just sitting on a boat in the Allegheny. So that's really what you're looking for these older guys. So what you want to do, look at the free agent list for this year. Look at players that are 35 years or older and injury prone, and that's basically what Ben Charrington's going to be looking for.
No, that's just vintage Buccos. I mean, they suck, but they just keep on nutting. So,
well, here's my thing with it.
Motto.
They won't suck next year. They shouldn't suck.
They'll keep on like Bob nutting. Though.
I think this was a very, very good step in the right direction for this team this year. It sucks that Cruz didn't play the rest of the year. He played 9 games. That's tough.
They'd be 500 if they had him.
I think so. I think he gets you more than 8 wins. I really do.
There's not a shuffle in that.
No, you had a turnstile. Even second base was a turnstile because Diogo Pereira looks all right there, but you have quite a few guys there at the middle infield that you might be able to trade away for a center fielder or a first baseman, or an arm, 2 arms. You got to figure something out. But I'm going to close the book on the Buccos this year.
Yeah, one thing I saw before we wrap it up on the Buccos, all the rookies that they called up this year, I don't believe any one of them was over, in positive WAR. There might have been one's above replacement. So that kind of sucks, showing that okay, we have this farm system and they're not coming up and contributing. Andy Haynes is still going to be the hitting coach, which I mean, I don't know why they still have him there. Brian Hayes is basically crediting Altuna's, the Curves hitting coach to getting his swing back. So really, I just don't know what you do there. I don't know why.
Andy doesn't have a positive WAR.
Huh?
Andy, he doesn't have a positive WAR.
He was barely under positive.
Well,
like he was closest to being a positive, replacement player. I mean, it's not that hard to be better than Austin Hedges. You just have to have a.
He should have anybody.
Yeah. No, I mean, he was probably. I think he was the closest. He might have been like negative 0.3, so he was, right there, basically break even. I know the Rangers traded for Austin Hedges, and their franchise immediately just got some bad luck down there. So that's really not a surprise when you bring in a defensive catcher and you only play him like 3 times. Yeah, I mean, he's right up there with people you'll forget about in how many years. And you go back, and we'll be talking 10 years later like this, and it's like we're going to talk about Austin Hedges in the future. It's basically the equivalent of when the Pirates, they really went into the free agency splash in the mid 2000s, and you had Jeremy Burnitz at first base, and the second stint with the Pirates pulling him out of a retirement home, Joe Randa at the hot corner. So if that was 1994, the fans would have been pumped. Unfortunately, it was like 2006, and no one gave a shit. So there you go. That's the Pirates franchise. I know Dan's loving it right now. My first ever Pirate game, the opening day starter was Jimmy Anderson, and he bleached his hair so he looked like a tennis ball head. And I just remember they were doing horrible. We ended up leaving in like the 7th inning. And as soon as we left, big crowd roar, pinch hit home run from Matt Stairs, a guy who looked like he was born to be a pinch hitter right there. He had the stash, the flow. He was about 5'5", like 300 pounds, just hitting dingers. You look like John Kruk's illegitimate son. That's basically what Matt Stairs was back in the day. So that's my end of the Pirate rant. I mean, G1, get rid of him. G1 Bay, get him out of here.
Yeah.
Send him back to the Guangdong Tigers, maybe, of the Euro League or whatever.
I believe it's the Yokoshima Swallows, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The Nippon Ham Fighters, perhaps. I'm a big fan of Japanese baseball, where Gregory.
Compared to the Tokyo Spitters, that's their division
Gregory
rival.
Polanco's still raking over there.
Dude, Gregory Polanco is like a friggin' god over there.
He's raking.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you look at Pirates that go over there. I think half of their roster from like 2 years ago is playing in Japan. There's a decent chance that Brad Eldrin might still be hitting dingers over there at the age of 45, big country, as you may recall. But yeah, hey, I can go deep into the archives, Dan. This is what I live for.
You're pulling out some zingers.
We paid them in Cherokee Red, just bottles of Cherokee Red.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, you think about it. I'm pretty sure Lastings Millage had a great career over there. I remember him. The only thing you can remember about him in a Pirates uniform is his bright yellow cleats, which you didn't really get to see much because he wasn't on base too much. So the batter's box was really styling back in the day.
The only thing I remember about Lastings Millage is people out there in left field dressed up as the Millage people. So they looked like the Village people, but they said it was the Millage people. So you had an Indian, construction worker, a police officer. I was waiting for them to get the YMCA on, but they didn't.
Yeah, good thing Felipe Vasquez was on the team back then. He sees a police officer in the stands, he immediately just starts sweating.
What was his name back then? Because I'm convinced he changed. Rivero. He changed his name because he was trying to hide. I mean, but you're on TV. You're in the MLB. You ain't hiding that well.
I mean, it was a sound principle and thought. I mean, changing your name, but when you realize you're on TV every day and people actually know who you are, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
So
You have like a banner outside the stadium, like people are gonna know who you are.
They took that sumbitch down real fast.
I was there when they drove by when they were doing it.
Yeah.
The nightmare.
Wait until he strikes out Wander Franco in the
yeah.
That's going to be a marquee matchup. That's like the longest yard of baseball right there.
Those like caretaker in the batter's box.
Caretaker, Joe Randa.
God.
That's Bucco's talk. Yeah, we'll close the book on him for this year. Next time we talk about him might be when they sign somebody, or if they have some kind of crazy win in the next week and somehow something wild happens where the 0.001% chance they make playoffs. But I don't see it happening. I know you guys are shaking your heads, and honestly, I just had to say it just to cover our tracks in case it does, because I'm not gonna be like the Reds Twitter account and get memed on for saying like
we won't get memed on because I understand it's still possible and mathematically they're not eliminated, I guess. But you need every team in front of you to lose and you need to win out.
Every game. Yeah, that's
it's and there's 6 or 7 games left.
Like a parlay if you put all those games together, you're not gonna
I bet you the odds are plus 1 billion, If you put every team in front of them to lose and then the Buccos to win every game on a parlay, the odds are astronomical. You put $1 on there, you're going to be a billionaire. I bet you a sports book wouldn't even take that because if it would hit, But yeah, it's just, hey, like I said, they got us through the dog days of summer. We can't bitch that much about them because we're still talking about them. Here we are, September, and we're 2 Steeler games in.
I didn't think we'd make it till July, honestly.
Right.
Like late July.
Yep.
Maybe August. Hey, we made it to a week left in the season. They got us to, hey, as long as you get us to the first preseason game, that's all we ask.
Yeah, that's what, and they did.
Yeah, they did.
I think they got us to training camp, and we were all in on Steeler football at training camp time. So
I was hanging on still. I was hanging on up until preseason game. I fell off a little bit after that.
It was a little before training camp, and I was like, all right, I'm going to have to start doing some 2024 mock NFL drafts because they were just dog shit for a span of a month, and it was just ugly to watch.
It was.
I still watched, though. I was faithful to the bitter end of until football came back on.
That's just sick.
You're sick, man. Sick people in this world.
What is there to do? You could literally go fishing.
Watch Big Brother.
Watch Big Brother. Grind some camos on Xbox. You could literally do anything else other than watch the Pirates for that month, and you would have been better off, spending your time in other ways.
Yeah.
Fair. Dan, is that homemade tea or is that Turner's?
That's actually Arnold Palmer. Well, half and half. Oh yeah.
Homemade Arnold Palmer or store bought?
I got it from Sam's in the big thing, the powder. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So homemade. It's like right in the middle. That's considered homemade, but kind of bought.
I guess. Processed.
You ever have those things you go up and down when you make the lemonade, like the country made?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That was yummy lemonade.
Yeah.
All right. Anywho, closing the book on the Pirates. We talk Steelers. What do you want to get into first? Do we want to recap last week since we weren't able to talk about that game?
I mean, the biggest development, the Steelers obviously won. The defense won them that game. I just want to give credit where credit's due. And Deshaun Watson finally getting caught inappropriately touching others and being penalized for it, I think was the biggest storyline coming out of last week. You spend what, 200 some, 300 some million?
253.
253 million guaranteed for a quarterback that you could have had Jacoby Brissett back there. I think he was probably one of the best Cleveland quarterbacks recently. I really liked him in Cleveland, but maybe spend just a couple if you want to get a shitty quarterback with a little baggage, you could say, with that. I mean,
but he didn't get in too much trouble for touching that ref, though. He should have been thrown out of the game.
He got $40,000 worth of fines at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And people I don't know if they're going to do it. Cleveland's saying they might be able to use that to say, he breached something in his contract. They don't have to pay him as much money or something like that. I saw something on Twitter where they might not have to pay him a big chunk of money now. and can like basically void. I don't know. I just saw it.
There could have been a clause in his contract, like we've talked before. With guys getting on motorcycles and stuff, there's clauses that you never hear about in all these contracts. So maybe it was like you can't, accrue X amount in fines from the league. It's possible. There's clauses in contracts you never hear about, and then till something like this happens, and then you say, "Oh, well, that's weird." But there's weird clauses in every contract for athletes.
Okay, so here it is. Browns can potentially have a loophole to get out of Deshaun Watson's contract. Pro Football Talk obtained a copy of Watson's contract, and the contract voids all future guarantees for any suspension imposed by the NFL. So that's like one of those clauses, like you said. The guarantees do not void if player is suspended for not more than one game for violations of the NFL playing rules, or player is suspended for violations of the official NFL playing rules. So, I mean, did he get suspended?
No,
he didn't get suspended. I don't think he.
That's probably why he didn't, or else he would have lost all that money. They probably just said, "Hey, pay us like $40K."
See, I don't think that's why. I think that clause is more for like he's heading back into the
massagey boom booms,
the massage parlors. That's not for like
no, but it said reread that again. Did it say something about on field or anything?
It just said basically the rules? Anything in the NFL.
Okay,
players,
so that's anything. So like if you get you touch a ref and you get thrown out and you get suspended by the league, that falls under that category. If you go back to a massage parlor and you're getting telling people to get up in there and you get found out that you're a creep, that falls under there as well.
I mean, but I don't think you can get him. I mean, maybe if he's like touching a ref like at a massage parlor, get him out of there. But maybe a suspension for at least a fine for shoving an official. That definitely should have been something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't care. They lost. I don't care.
Yeah, that's
hilarious.
Poverty.
Let's talk about the offense. So,
yes.
Trouble with Matt Canada. Yet again, same story, different week. Kenny not looking the same as last year. Who knows? It's not looking good because the Steelers are the only team scouting that Oregon-Colorado game yesterday.
They were up there for the offensive lineman. I'm telling you right now.
It's for linemen.
Yeah.
Take that how you will.
Yeah.
Bo Nix isn't an NFL quarterback.
Either is Sanders.
He's also hit too, I'm pretty sure, from college standards. That's basically Kenny Pickett light. So I don't think it was for him, and I don't think it was definitely for. I don't think it would be for Sanders. So I think it was mainly lineman Oregon there because Colorado's line got blown up on both sides yesterday. If you scouted that, you're a fool right now. I mean, what are you going to do?
Oregon has two tackles that are like NFL ready. They're hogs. But back to the offense, Ryan. Very stagnant, and then Kenny looks gun shy. But here's my thing with the offense: you got to blame three people, and everybody wants to blame one guy. Everybody wants to blame Matt Canada. Well, Matt Canada's at fault. Kenny does not look sharp. He's at fault. And I'm sorry, Mike Tomlin's at fault for keeping Matt Canada around. You got to blame all three of those guys.
I was ready to talk about that, Dan. It's getting to be on Mike T.
And I'll tell you right now, I think, and I've praised him up and down on this podcast before. You got to give criticism every once in a while to a guy. He had the opportunity to get rid of Matt Canada in the offseason. He didn't. Understandable. You want to give him a full year with Kenny? That's fine. First two games, they look stagnant. It looks bad. Defenses are keying off on our offense. We can't move the ball. I understand that Kenny hit George Pickens for that 76-yard banger, but that's the most explosive play they've had. And then you look at like San Fran. I understand they were playing on a short field the whole time, but it was like Brock Purdy was finding the open receiver every time. I don't know if Kenny needs to stand in the pocket and trust himself a little more. You could see he kind of forces some things. He'll check off a guy.
Makes things a little more complicated.
Yeah, he checks off a guy a little early. I think he's had a few guys open and he'll check off them way too early. But when he hit George Pickens, he stood in the pocket. I know he got hit, but he made the throw.
Where's that throw at?
He made the throw.
Where did he throw it to?
Over the middle.
Middle of the field.
Right.
Yep. Do you know where the large amount of his passes are? Outside the numbers.
To the boundary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Safe.
That's not a high percentage throw.
Safe.
Go ahead.
Here's another thing you talk about. They're throwing outside the numbers. Pat Frymuth has 2 catches for 5 yards and a touchdown this year. Like, why are you not using your tight ends more? Darnell Washington's a beast.
Yeah.
They're not going to the middle of the field.
No. And that's what you saw in the preseason.
Quarterback. Look what the Niners did.
Right. In the preseason, where did they attack? Middle of the field. Middle of the field. And the other thing is, offensively, Najee Harris, what is going on with this guy? Jaylen Warren looks like the better running back right now. He looks like he's the only one ready on that offense. He got that little check down on 3rd and long from Kenny and got a first down. Without that play, you don't get the George Pickens play. I think Jaylen Warren is the only, I guess, running back showing up right now. I wouldn't say not the only weapon on offense, but he's the only.
Tough.
Is it though?
For Najee, it's tough. It looks like the blocking of the line didn't look that great from what I saw. But like you said, Jaylen Warren is coming in and, change of pace. He is doing a lot better than Najee right now.
Watch those
the other
two.
Thing is, I think they're using Najee wrong.
Right. But here's the other thing. Watch those two today. I want you to. Jaylen Warren's running downhill. Najee is kind of giving me Le'Veon Bell vibes, and he doesn't have the explosive speed to wait for the hole. He needs to come downhill. He's a big guy. He's as big as the bus was. Okay? And I understand you think, the bus was fat. Najee Harris is thick. He's a big, wide guy. He's almost like a Derrick Henry running back. He needs to come downhill. He's stutter stepping too much. He's not hitting the hole. He's waiting. He just needs to put his head down and run people over.
Yeah.
That's the kind of back he is. And you saw it when they ran that draw and it blew up on the left side and he ran it back. He doesn't have the breakaway speed. He's not like a Willie Parker.
I could have beat him in a foot race there.
So he's a bruiser. Use him as a bruiser. Line up, run it down their throat. And then it's tough because you can't get any play action going, so they're keying off on things. You're in the shotgun.
Play action. That's what I'm about to get into. So just seeing these graphs on Twitter of, like the Steelers are outliers in every single one.
Yes.
Like whenever they're under center, it's always like run the ball. And every time out of the shotgun, it's a pass. Like, are you telling me at a professional level that you're running your plays in a way that is just oversimplified to where these defenses can just clog things up every time they see you under center or drops another guy back whenever you're in the shotgun? It just doesn't make sense. And like the lack of play action too. Like with a young quarterback like that, just like the Niners and Brock Purdy, like that's all they do is like misdirection, like RPO kind of stuff, or like play action. And the Steelers did none of that.
Two words.
The other thing too,
Kyle Shanahan.
Whenever they did actually establish the ground game in the fourth quarter, they had a couple runs where they were just running down Cleveland's throat. And then what does Matt Canada do? Jet sweep.
Yep.
Why? Just keep running it down.
One time ever.
The whole Matt Canada experiment it's boiling over. I gave him a pass last year. I did. I remember you had that background, Motts, that said fire Matt Canada. You kept pointing to it. I was giving him. I'm over it. After looking up some of his collegiate numbers, he wasn't even a good college offensive coordinator, let alone a professional offensive coordinator. This is ridiculous. And I hate to say it, but I think it all comes back on Mike T. Because he's, there's branches off of that guy, right? Because you got your head coach, then you got your offensive defense coordinators, then you have your, and special teams coach, and then you have your quarterbacks coach and linebackers coach, DBs coach. Like everything branches down. You go back up there, who's it lead to? Mike Tomlin. What are we doing? And everybody in town is asking for this guy's head, and I understand it because we're just fed up with the same basic offense that we're seeing. Like, you gave them a pass last year, fine, like I did. You're 2 games in and it's the same thing.
It's not even basic. It's just the misuse of your players. Like we saw in the preseason, and even that one play with Pickens last week. Like if you get these guys in open field, like in one-on-one situations, that's when they're going to do their best. They're athletes. I feel like the Steelers have some of the like best athletes on the field at any given time, and they can make shit happen. That's just the bottom line. You give them a ball, they can make shit happen, and you just don't see that. It's just misuse. And they just gotta do better. That's all I can say. And today's gonna be the biggest like test of that. If they don't show any improvement from last week, um, like you're getting your like called for your head, like Dan said, after a win. After a win. Like how often does that happen in Pittsburgh?
That
Never.
only happens because your offense was outscored by your defense, which shouldn't happen.
Shouldn't happen.
They had negative yards in the fourth quarter, I'm pretty sure, and still won the game.
And they didn't run a play inside Cleveland's 30.
That's just they can't sustain a drive. There's a lot of 3 and outs. You have the backfield that you do, and then you have the receivers on the outside that you do. You should be able to sustain, a 12-play drive, a 14-play drive. Time of possession was big. 35 minutes to 24 minutes. The Browns, had more time of possession. They ran 81 total plays. The Browns did. We ran 53 total plays. Something's not adding up here.
It's almost double, yeah.
And here's the thing.
It's your offensive coordinator that wears a straw hat during the week. That's why.
Total yards, 408 to 255. And I understand that the defense scooped and scored in pick 6, right? I get that. But look at the rushing numbers, 198 rushing yards for Cleveland to 55 for the Steelers. I understand Nick Chubb got hurt. He doesn't get hurt. That's a different game because he's grinding that clock out. There's not time. Dude, who's to say that we because Cleveland had to throw there late. That's why, we end up stripping them and scooping and scoring. I get it. The defense was world class last week. It was.
Yeah.
That offense.
No, if Nick Chubb doesn't get hurt, the Steelers lose that game. Yep. I firmly believe that. They're down to Jerome Ford, and then they signed running back / backup kicker Kareem Hunt is back. So big for Cleveland. Big day for Cleveland.
You were on one today, and I love it.
What?
I'm just saying, you're pulling out a lot of good zingers today.
I'm feeling it today.
You are. I like it.
I'm feeling the zingers today. I got a nice night of sleep. Slept in. Got some. I think it's because I just had like an XL coffee. So I'm caffeinated. Normally when we're recording, I'm a little tired after just doing the Sunday chores and everything. But yeah, the zingers are out today, Dan. Thank you for recognizing that. Thank you.
Game recognizes game, right? Is that what the kids say?
Yeah.
So that was recap of last week. Do you guys want to do a preview? Go ahead. Sorry, Dan.
Just real quick, because it could have changed the tide of the game. Gunnar Olszewski, what are you doing? Catching that was the greatest and worst catch of his career in a Steeler uniform. You let that ball go out of bounds, and if you're not sure, do you guys know the protocol on that? Have one foot in, 1 foot out, and then you catch it because then they'll throw the flag. But you toe tapped. What are you doing?
Well, then not to mention he got his brain scrambled the next drive.
Yeah.
I mean,
poor guy. But and then also, did you guys see the PFF article? Dan
Moore 3.
No, the other one on the other side of the ball. They graded Myles Garrett higher than TJ Watt. What a joke. If anybody listens to anything the PFS says, unless you're talking about Dan Moore, you're a joke as well. I'm sorry. But that's all I wanted to touch on real quick. I thought those were 2 key points about last week as well.
Okay. Fair enough, yeah. Those are good points. So they go to Las Vegas today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are our thoughts on this game, win or loss?
Well, looking at the defense for Vegas, sorry. Max Crosby and Robert Spillane are the only two players I can actually name on that defense, like George Pickens said. I mean, they got some other guys, obviously, but those are the two guys that really just pop out. And if Bobby Spillane's one of the guys popping out on your defense, you're going to be having some issues. However, the Steelers are notoriously bad on the West Coast. So this is a game I think they should win, but I think they end up losing just because they never play well out there.
I don't think it's far enough west. Go ahead.
I think this is a Bass Ackwards season, and I feel like you just said, they're not good on the West Coast, so maybe they'll be good on the West Coast this year.
Which bodes well for them later in the season. But back to your point, Motts, I think you're absolutely correct. But you wouldn't even know the freight train Bobby Spillane if he wasn't a Steeler last year and the year prior.
Yeah,
you know,
if he didn't meet Derrick Henry at the goal line,
right,
that's
right.
His neck is ginormous, by the way.
Max Crosby's the only guy you got to worry about. I think you neutralize him. They should be able to get the running game going. Hopefully, this is the jump start that this offense needs. I'm hoping they put up 27 on offense. You can't leave it up to your defense again. They're not going to score every game. They're not going to get a pick six and a scoop and score every game. You might get a pick six every few games, and that's great. Or they might take one into plus territory for you, but you got to capitalize. I think this is a big statement game for the offense. The defense knows what it is. They know who they are, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah,
they're going to carry you, but your offense, you need to complement your defense way better than you already are. Let's just hope that they can.
The only reason it scares me for Oakland's defense is you have Bobby Spillane. I think he has the green dot. Maybe he doesn't for that Oakland defense at linebacker. And something that always scares me, there's three things that scare me. Carnies, circus folk really just kind of creep me
They're
out.
down in Leechburg right now.
Yeah, nuclear warfare, obviously, scares me. And then a linebacker that was action born and bred, getting the out on Sunday Night Football. That scares me. That scares the living.
Neck too, like him. His neck is like literally.
Yeah. He's an action product. I mean, he's used to playing Tuesday Night Football. You throw him on them big lights on a Sunday night, he's going to show out. Believe it.
But you look at them offensively. Who scares you? Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs. Is he going to get going? Who's to say? But I think Devontae Adams. But can Jimmy G get the ball out? I think they'll put enough pressure on him. He'll get them happy feet. I think they'll be all right today. I don't think it's West enough for them to play prototypical Steeler West Coast football.
But you got to factor in it is Vegas, so
right. It's another home game.
Not at the casinos, not having a grand old time last night. You just don't know, and it'll be pretty evident. You'll look who's getting cooked. Is Dan Moore flat on his back before the snap? Is Levi Wallace getting cooked? I mean, listen, one of these Steelers corners is going to get cooked by either Jacoby Myers or even worse, Hunter Renfrow, who had a horrible year last year. Hunter Renfrow is going to sneak one today. You watch it. Book it. Take it to the bank.
I put him in my starting lineup for our league just because I had no. I mean, Aaron Jones is out again, but I was like, you know what? Hunter Renfrow in the slot against the Steelers. I'm going to book that. I'm going to take that.
Gunner died. Hunter.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough day for whoever you're playing.
I think I'm playing you.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to look down and see Hunter Renfrow like staring back at me.
I think I'm playing you. Let me look.
I said on Thursday, so I didn't even look since Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm playing you.
Really?
Yep.
Well,
you gang. Ha ha
chalk
ha
up as a loss. I can't go against Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, I got you. So that's my trap card.
My draft strategy will be, I'm either going to lose the league or win the league in the next couple weeks. If Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor both come back, my roster is going to look great. Austin Eckler hurts killing me right now. Other than that, I might be on that State Farm billboard here pretty soon.
Like a good neighbor.
Yeah, like a good neighbor, I'm going to be I'm going to be in some trouble. I'll be honest.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, final thoughts. Andrew lost. Me, Dan, win. Win?
Yeah. I'll take him 27-14 today.
This is prime time. This isn't no Monday night split game. You're the only thing on. You better show up. This is make or break for Matt Canada. If you don't show up in front of the whole nation, Sunday Night Football, waiting all day for Sunday night.
Did you hear that he got promoted in the Steeler offense now?
Yeah.
I know it's hard to think how he's working one-on-one with Kenny Pickett now.
Yeah, they said they want him to be more hands-on with Pickett.
Yeah.
Sean Watson heard hands-on and immediately applied to be the Steelers offensive coordinator. Conflict of interest, however, but what did I?
Personal foul on the Mott's. That's you're out of pocket.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Sportsmanlike conduct. 15 yards.
Speaking about
whatever.
unsportsmanlike, did you guys see that that dude from San Fran punched that other guy?
Yeah, he should have been ejected.
Yeah.
Williams
Thursday, yeah. Here's my thing. Insult to injury. You punch a man who's wearing a helmet. Like you should be tossed because you threw a punch, but like you have the risk of breaking your hand.
I mean, you can just go like blind though. Look what Pouncey did whenever Garrett swung the helmet at Mason. He started punching him when he had his helmet on, but that's protecting your QB. He probably
but I think
like he's wielding a weapon. Like you have to throw him.
Yeah, like that's okay. That's fine. I get that, but yeah, there's like even if you're talking trash or whatever, and you just swing on somebody, you don't do that. The guy's wearing a helmet. I never understood that. I never did, never will.
I have an idea. I was watching, NFL fight compilations the other day on YouTube just to see, like, how
many times Mike Evans took on Marshawn or Lattimore.
Yeah, so Mike Evans, but I think for every Texans-Titans game, they need to have Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan come out.
Yeah.
Whoever beats the shit out of the other, that's the winner of the coin toss.
I like
They should do that.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that would always rip chains off of Crabtree?
Aqib Talib, noted chain snatch.
Them too. That have them on each side of the numbers, like one on one side, one on the other. So then you just have one guy, like two guys on one side, just fist fighting, and then you'll just put like a bunch of chains on Michael Crabtree on the other side, and just have him like ripping each one off. That's what people want to see.
You could literally do it for so many matchups. You have Josh Norman and Odell Beckham Jr. Taking runs at each other. D'Angelo Hall was always getting mixed up with somebody. Joey Porter, put him in there. A couple Browns games. Didn't he get tossed before Browns games?
Tossed before two. It like warm ups. They're out there stretching, and he crossed the 50 and got in someone's face, and they threw him out of two of them. Yeah, and I think that one
and change the rules. That replaces the coin toss.
The game has like evolved a little bit. We haven't seen a good chain snatches or heard one in a while. Well, I know we heard a couple last year because we were talking about them last year.
Yeah.
If people like respecting the chain now.
So it's a disrespect, I think, to wear it, but it's even more disrespectful to snatch a man's chain. Like if I'm torching you and that's the best you can do, is snatch my chain. You're a punk. I wouldn't say it's devolving, but
the funniest part's whenever they toss it into the crowd, though, because that guy just made bank. Whoever catches that, that's worth the price of admission.
I had my chain snatched one time.
Like
not on a football field or anything. Well,
I've had like a bunch.
Quite a few friends. We were at a party, and my one friend got annihilated, and I tried to help him out, and he just yanked my chain.
Right off?
Oh, yeah.
Right off your neck.
Oh, yeah.
I think every single chain that I've had has been yanked. That's how they work. Because I wear them all the time. This one is actually lasted a decent while. I wear them while I play basketball. But I'll tuck them in. Like, I always have them tucked. So, like, some days, like, you'll just get it yanked off. I have like a whole pile of them. They're just all broken because they've been yanked off my neck like several times. And the only one I have that you can is like I have like a thick one, like a thick kind of one. And this one, it's kind of like blocks like strung together. If you've ever seen one like that, so it's
That's
just impossible to yank.
that's a little worrying to me, Ryan. That's kind of 2 strikes on you for the pod right now.
Why?
The third best hauler in the podcast, and you're the one getting your chain snatched multiple times.
But it's like an accident, though. It's not like a.
That's his third strike, actually, because he's not even the best hunter on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that is true. I
Damn.
mean,
Who is then?
Andrew.
yeah, clearly.
Yeah, he's like a hard scoper, though.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that is true. Ryan goes into the woods in quick scopes.
I don't even use sights. Hip fire.
I think I saw Gary in the woods once with a riot shield. I'm not sure what he was doing.
You may have. You may have.
Are we all? Or this is a little off topic. We all just gonna use riot shields?
Can.
No.
Sure.
Actually, how about me, you, and Gary use them, Dan, and then Ryan can just use LMG behind us. I think
That's
that would
fine.
be pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be like kick ass. So that's Steelers preview for tonight. We'll be watching that. Report back next week. Hopefully, be able to actually watch a game and live discussion or same day discussion at some point.
It should be a 1:00 game next week, right? I think so. So
1 o'clock next week.
Yeah.
I haven't had many of those this year. Maybe 1 out of 3 so far. But this is the make or break game. Steelers 8:30 Sunday Night Football. Carrie Underwood will be singing the national anthem.
We will be playing Search Detroit while the game's on.
Yeah.
Call Couch may or may not be streaming.
I will be.
TBD.
Will be.
Oh.
We will be.
Join the stream, talk some football with us tonight during the game.
Yeah, and then another thing about football and the big game, the Super Bowl. I guess Usher was announced as the Super Bowl halftime show, just like an hour ago. So breaking news there. Yeah. I'll watch it only if LA Knight comes out and says the yeah part for him. And then another news, Pitt will not win another game the rest of the year.
They look good for a little bit.
No. Pat Narduzzi is a bum. I don't know what's worse as a Pitt fan to have Pat Narduzzi out of touch with the offense or an offensive coordinator at the pro level that can't, offensive coordinate. I don't know what's worse. It's a bad day. It's a sad day. Pitt, I'm going to say it, Jeff Bowser, Pitt is shit. And Duke is puke.
Yeah, I watched, thankfully, the Penn State game, the whole thing. Chop Robinson is him. You might have seen me tweet that out.
I did.
He'll be a high draft pick, I bet. Good edge rusher. But they hung 31 on Iowa, a ranked opponent, held them to 0. Defense looked great. North Allegheny kid had his first touchdown, I believe, of his career. But just, good game, good stuff. So, let's go Penn State.
What's going on, Mott's? What's going on, Mott's?
They're showing the halftime highlights right now of like the games around the league. The Jets are losing 10-3 to the Patriots at halftime. They just showed some old Jets fan like screaming at his teeth. He's like, shut up. Like, buddy, you can't be yelling at your hometown team. Your teeth are falling out on national TV. That's my jag of the week right there.
That's a tough scene. Real quick around other college football, Florida State won again. Thank God. I at least have them to root for. Tough one in Death Valley against.
You going to that game?
Probably not now. Maybe. I'll go to root for Florida State. They'll hang 46 on them at halftime. Yeah, it's abysmal. It's tough. But other news: Prime catches his first loss against a real opponent. And everybody wants to say that all the hate he's getting is just jealousy. No, when you make the remarks you do and you make everything about you at the collegiate level as a head coach, you're gonna get lumped, and they're gonna hang them on you, and they're gonna beat you bad. You think Oregon beat you bad? Wait, you got Caleb Williams. You got to go out to USC this week coming up. So I understand. Oh, you didn't have Travis Hunter, but Travis Hunter wasn't going to help you that much. Oregon's just another breed, and same with USC. USC, they might play in the playoffs again this year, and they're going to show you what the Pac-12 used to be, because it's not going to be a conference anymore. So
they in the playoff last year?
USC? They weren't? Did they play in the Rose Bowl?
No,
because Penn State played in the Rose Bowl, right?
They played Utah.
Yeah, Penn State and Utah were in the.
They might have played in the High Bowl though.
I know they did.
I want to say it was against like Tennessee or something, maybe. Tennessee?
Let me look.
Seems like something to be matched up with. I don't know. Because it was who? Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Georgia. Yeah. That was a playoff last year.
Yeah, I don't know what they were in last year.
I want to say it was against Tennessee.
Oh no! They lost the Cotton Bowl to Tulane. That's right, because I was rooting for Tulane. Yeah. That's right. Lost by a point. Yeah.
What are they doing this year? They're ranked at the beginning of the season. Are they still like?
Oh, let me look
notable?
for you.
Badass mascot, badass logo.
Blue wave, the green wave.
Green wave, and don't ever disrespect Sean King on this podcast.
They are 3-1 this year. They're unranked.
You'll know Sean.
Yeah.
Old quarterback from the Buccaneers, played at Tulane.
Okay. Good for him. Sounds like he has a promising career.
Well, I mean, he's like probably 50-something now, but
they lost by 17 to Ole Miss.
Tulane. Dan?
What's that?
You know who else went to Tulane, I believe? You could look it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mewelde Moore, former Steeler running back.
One more time?
Mewelde Moore, you remember him?
No. I got my TJ Watt jersey on, turned down for Watt. That's the first thing Dan said whenever he saw my shirt today. Said turned down for Watt. So make sure you all go on Twitter and tweet out "turn down for Watt" at Couch105.
College.
What are you seeing?
You went to Tulane.
You see that? Yep. When I'm locked in, I am locked in.
You are. Maybe you should drink coffee more often before the pod. I like this. I like this version of you.
Might have to start doing it.
Yeah, by the time Sunday night hurts.
By the time Sunday night rolls around, I'm wiped out. The Sunday scaries are in effect.
This play by Deshaun Watson, he's getting wrapped up, and he throws a pass backwards, like 360-degree backwards.
It's a backwards lateral. Go pick it up.
No, there's no one there. He just goes, turns around.
If you throw it laterally or behind you, it's a fumble.
Yes, that's what it was.
So it's a fumble.
Yeah, but Ryan's saying it wasn't like a lateral or anybody behind him. He just threw it behind him.
I get you.
Yeah.
He was getting tackled, and he just throws it. They recovered it though, but it was like 10 yards behind. Okay. I don't know why he did that.
Making $253 million guaranteed, he can do what he wants.
He's a Jag.
True.
Not every play is going to have a happy ending, so you got to get used to that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's all I got. I don't have anything else for you guys, unless you guys have something else to add.
If you enjoy this commentary, watch Dan's stream tonight, because I'm going to be in there and I'm going to be talking some Steelers and the Zingers. It's a Zinger Sunday today.
I like it. Zinger Sunday. Real quick, Jag. Was it the local high school game? I see Ryan McDermott walking towards me. Wants a fist bump. Give him a fist bump. He tries to fist bump the stripes up there, the zebra, and the zebra goes, like telling him to get against the fence. All he had to do, all he had to do is give you a fist bump, and then you would have moved against the fence. I understand it.
He was walking towards me. We made eye contact. And, the officials, they don't get love. The officials, they're the first to complain whenever the crowd boos them or, like the crowd's harassing them. But whenever a member of the crowd, you make eye contact and I reach my hand out for a little fist bump, you ignore it, you deserve every ounce of getting screamed at that you did. So that guy is a Jag of the week.
I disagree with that. I'm on the ref side here. You got to be impartial before the game. You can't be giving out fist bumps to the other.
Oh, and you make eye contact and just acknowledge the person. We're humans.
A bad experience with refs back in high school. After a home game, every home game, you'd come in the locker room, the football field. You'd take your pads off, all that stuff. You're all muddy. Let's say it was raining out. You go to get in the shower. Nothing but grown-ass men in there using up all the hot water. So, yeah, he's a Jag.
They do that in, hard locker room, too. Basketball.
Yeah,
we'd be walking out, there'd just be, 4 refs just, buck naked, standing around.
Yeah. Well, there were 6, and they take all the hot water. It's like, buddy, you didn't even get muddy. I'm out there rolling in the muck, and I can't even take a shower. I got to go home and take a shower. Thanks. Yeah, terrible. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's season 2, episode 8. Tune in tonight to Dan's stream. We'll talk a little football. We'll talk shop. Chop it up a bit for you guys. But yeah, thanks for listening, and make sure to get your cats spayed and neutered.